What's up everybody, Silvio 3DRI here. My name is Silvio, I am a 3D artist and welcome to my channel. So, lighting, according to Wikipedia, is the deliberate use of light to achieve practical and aesthetical effects. And in my opinion, if you have a good light in your scene, you already completed 50% of that render. Of course, it's not enough to give that high level of realism to your image because you still need good models, good texture, and of course a good idea, the concept for the whole image. Light, it's studied for such a long time and it's a key point in every artwork. Just take a look at the Renaissance paintings and how beautiful the great masters played with the bouncing of light. Of course, nowadays we don't have to calculate the bouncing for the rays, we have computers that can do it for us. And in today's video I'm going to show you how to create a simple and clean light for your interior scene using 3dsMax and Corona renderer, and of course you can apply these techniques in your future artworks. So let's get started. As you can see, here we have a very simple scene with a sofa, a table, some objects, a lamp, some paintings. I put a window just for the effect, for the light, and a simple camera, Corona camera. I already set the camera because in this tutorial we are going to focus only on the lighting. I set an image aspect ratio of 1.33, but you can play along with it. And here we have the room, and the first thing we have to do is to put the environment map, and for that we are going to use an HDRI. We have to open the slate material editor. You can change the mode to compact, but I prefer to use the slate material. Go to map, general, bitmap, and here you can choose your HDRI. I think I'm going to use this HDRI, I like it very much. It's from HDRI Heaven. If you press on HDRIs, here we have a big variety of HDRIs. So I choose one of these, press open and OK. And now you have to wait a little bit because HDRIs are very big, and my recommendation is to use the biggest HDRIs your computer can render. For example 8K or 60K, 32 or 64. And now your computer recognizes this image as a simple texture. But we can change that by pressing on environment and spherical environment map. Okay, now we have to open the environment and effects tab, and we can do that by pressing 8 on the keyboard, and all we have to do is to drag the bitmap, the HDRI, into the environment map slot, and we have to press instance. Instance means that every change we are going to do in the HDRI, in the bitmap tab, is going to change live in your scene. Okay, now what we have to do is to test it, and we can do that by going to the render setup tab, go to scene and start interactive. And now we have the HDRI light in our scene, but of course it's very dark, and we can change this later in the light mix settings. Now we have to create the sun, and we can do this by pressing on the create tab, the light, and choose Corona sun. And now we have to drag the sun, and my recommendation is to drag the sun to touch all the objects, and by that I mean the walls, the sofa, the ceiling, the lamp, the paintings, because in this way the effect will appear more interesting. And now we can go to the camera mode, press render setup and start interactive to test the sun. The sun is too bright and it burns my whole scene, and we can change this by increasing the highlight compress, and here you can play with the values. Yeah, I think 10 is good for me. I don't want this to happen when I change the view mode, for example to change the sun settings, and I can fix this by going to render setup and by pressing on this little locker over here. And now we can do any change we want in other viewports because the interactive mode will be locked on the view mode camera. And now you can change the sun however you want, but I will drag it a little bit down because I want the sun to touch the walls. And I think this is good, it touches the pictures as well. And now the last thing is to put a light for the lamp, and for this I'm going to put a light material. You can isolate this by pressing on this little button down there. The lamp, it's a group, and first we have to ungroup this, and we can ungroup it by going to group and open recursively, and this will open all the groups, for example if there are many groups in one big group. Now select the head, go to edit poly and just drag a little plane by pressing 4 on the keyboard to select the plane mode, and drag it down. And on this plane, I'm going to apply a Corona light material. To do that, you have to open the Slate Material Editor, right click, go to Materials, Corona, and choose Corona Light Material. I will change the name for this light just to recognize it. Yeah, and very important thing is to have the emit light selected, because we want this material to emit light. I will choose a warmer color, and the intensity I will let it 1 because I'm going to change this in the light mix later. And press right click and assign material to the selected object. And now we have all the lights we need, and what we have to do is to set up the light mix. And we can do that by going to Render Settings, go to Scene, and press Setup Light Mix. And here you have to choose instance lights or grouped lights, but in this case we don't have a group of many lights, so we can simply just change instance and press Generate. And now we can check the lights in the Render Elements tab, and as you can see we have the environment map, the Corona sun, and the object, which is the light for the lamp. And that pretty much is. Now close it, press on Hide All, and go to the camera view mode and start the interactive light mix to see how this whole scene looks like. And from the top you have to choose the interactive light mix, so we can play with the lights. And as you can see we have the environment, the Corona sun, and we can enable and disable them, and the object, which is the light for the lamp, and the rest, which are the rest lights in case we have more, but we don't. Okay, and now we have to take them all one by one. And first we are going to open the environment map and increase this value until we are satisfied, and I think this is a good value for this scene. And now all we have to do is to change the rotation for the HDRI, and we can do this by pressing M for the Slate Material Editor, double click on the HDRI and go to Offset, and we have to play with the U value. I played before with this value and I found out that 0.45 it's a good value for this scene. Of course you can choose what value you want. And now the Corona sun, and the sun is obviously too bright, and I'm going to decrease this value. I don't like the sun to be very bright, I like a soft light. I think this looks nice. And now to add more realism, we have to change the sharpness of the shadow, because in real life you don't really have a shadow that is so sharp. And we can change this by pressing on the sun and change the size of the sun. And I'm going to let this value on 2.5. This is with the sun. And now the last is the light for the lamp. I will increase this value. I think this is good. Of course, to see it better you can disable the Corona sun. Now all we have to do is to change the directionality, because as you can see here on the wall the light is too flat and we want to look more like a cone. And we can do this by pressing M and go into the Corona light material and choose directionality. And here you can play with the directionality, and I think 0.35 is a good value. Okay, and now I will play a little bit more with the intensity. And now we can test all of them and just play a little bit more with the values. After you set all the values, you have to press on the Scene tab to translate all the values we change here in the actual scene. As you can see, the value for the sun changed in 0.18, and as well the light for the Corona light material. And now we can choose beauty, because it's the same thing with the light mix. Okay, and now we have all the lights. Don't forget to save the scene, because you don't want to lose everything you worked. Now we just have to make a little bit more settings. And the first, we are going to choose the denoising, Corona high quality. The amount I let it by default 0.65 and the radius 1. The noise level limit I'll put it 3. Pass limit I'll let it 0, because I don't want to stop at some point. I want the whole render to be completed. Okay, now start the interactive render mode and go to post, and now we can adjust the image. I think it has too much yellow, and I'll go to the white balance and I'll change the value. I think 6000 is okay. I like to decrease the saturation because it looks more realistic. And now the filmic shadows to add more contrast. 1 is too much, so I think 0.6 is good. And now the curves. Now add some curves, but not too much, just a little. Yeah, this looks nice. Some bloom and glare, just to add some volume for that light. And now one of my favorite part, the LUT, which is just a filter you add it over your image. I don't like to keep it at opacity 1, I always keep it at 0.5 or 0.4. And you can go through all of them by pressing click on the tab. After that press down or up arrow, and you can choose whatever it fits the best for the concept of your image. I think this one, it fits better for my image. Now I think it's too green, and I will adjust it from the green and magenta tint tab. And that's pretty much it is with the adjustment. Now all we have to do is to render the final image. Be sure to have the Corona renderer selected from the renderer tab. Don't forget to save and press render, and now we have to wait. And after 40 minutes the render is done, and I see it has too much glare on this pillow, and so I'll decrease the value. I think 0.5 it's okay. And now all we have to do is just to save it. I like to save VTXR because I want to import it in Photoshop and edit it after. And the next video will be about this, how to edit this image in Photoshop. And that pretty much it is. It's so simple to set a clean light for your scene, and you can use these techniques in your future artworks. So thanks for watching guys, and until the next video, don't forget to subscribe, to hit the notification button and give a like to this video so many people can see it. Bye!